witch hunt, scam, hoax. It's called election interference, and they're doing the best they can with it. They've launched one hoax and witch hunt after another to try and stop our movement and thwart the will of the American people. The ridiculous and baseless indictment of me by the Biden administration's weaponized Department of Injustice will go down as among the most horrific abuses of power in the history of our country.
Former President Donald Trump defending himself against the historic federal indictment filed against him regarding his handling of sensitive government records. William Barr, who served as U.S. Attorney General during his administration, has a different view on things.
I was shocked by the degree of sensitivity of these documents and how many there were, frankly. And I think the counts under the Espionage Act, that he willfully retained those documents, are solid counts. Now, I do think we have to wait and see what the defense says and what proves to be true. But I do think that even half what Andy McCarthy said, which is if even half of it is true, then he's toast.
Toast or not, so far the Republican frontrunner is weathering the storm in the eyes of the public. Asked whether the charges unsealed Friday influenced their view of the former president, 61% in a CBS News YouGov poll said it wouldn't, and 76% of likely GOP primary voters are concerned that the charges are politically motivated. Bloomberg's Annmarie, Kailey Leinz join us now from Washington, D.C. MH, what's the latest?
Well, Jonathan, the latest there is that as we gear up to see what happens tomorrow with the president going to be in Miami, I know Kailey will be alongside with him as he faces these unprecedented charges, is the politicalization of all of it is the fact that we are in a primary race to see who will become the Republican candidate for 2024. And even with these charges, 37 charges, they are very serious. His own attorney general on Fox News Sunday called them damning in this indictment. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to a primary election, if it was held today, it would go to the former president, Donald Trump, regardless of his legal troubles. The issue, of course, they have, Jonathan, which some in the Republican Party are speaking about, either whispering behind closed doors or out loud, is the fact that what does that mean for a general race? Maybe he gets the primary voters, but that certainly changes in November of next year.
Kailey, you'll be there, as Annmarie indicated. Walk me through what tomorrow morning is going to look like.
Well, President Trump is actually flying from New Jersey down to Miami today to prepare for this arraignment, which will be taking place at the federal courthouse at 3 p.m. tomorrow. It is unclear if we will actually see the president walking into the courthouse or if he's going to enter from underground. But once inside at this arraignment, he will be fingerprinted. He will have his mugshot taken, and then, in theory, he will be on his way, at which point he will fly back to New Jersey to speak at his golf club there tomorrow evening and talk to donors. So it becomes a question of whether this really is just another opportunity for him to galvanize the support of his base and raise money, like we saw with the previous indictment that happened in Manhattan earlier this spring related to hush money payments made to Stormy Daniels. Another thing that I would say is that in that Manhattan case on the day of his arraignment, there was a lot of concern about security, the idea that if supporters showed up to the courthouse potentially could incite violence. And we do understand that there are intensive security preparations underway in Miami now, prepared for anyone who may show up and disrupt activity tomorrow. Of course, over the weekend, we had some incendiary comments coming from Carrie Lake, for example, an Arizona Republican, saying anyone who wanted to get to the president was going to have to go through her and 75 million Americans like her, indicating that the majority of those are members of the NRA. So that is something we'll all be on watch for tomorrow, John.
Kailey Leinz, looking forward to your coverage.